This is a tarot reading for the Chinese New Year, for the entire year of the dragon, which starts on February the 10th. Now, it's the lunar New Year, so it isn't exactly a year, but it lasts around a year. And February the 10th is quite late, so the date shifts every year. But it's somewhere around the end of January, beginning of February always. If you're unsure of what Chinese zodiac sign you are, if you look in my notes, there's a crib there which lets you know. And it's based on the year that you were born, rather than the month that you were born in. But if you're born at the end of the year, it's a little bit more complicated, and you'd need to look it up. So this is a reading for the entire year of the dragon, but for the sign of the rooster. Roosters, this looks like an interesting year for you. I think there's a few twists in it. We'll get to those later. If you look at that central card, it's the Justice card. Now, we've been getting both the Justice and the Judgment card quite a lot recently. And often, even when it's justice, I think there is a karmic judgment element in it. What I think is going on is that we entered a new paradigm last year. A new paradigm of love, trust, openness, community. Sweeping aside the past of greed, manipulation and secrecy. And I believe, and there's plenty of evidence of it, that this karmic justice, let's call it, because at the moment it is in the form of true justice, is happening. And I think most of us are aware that those who've transgressed, maybe not the most, but the most obvious transgressors, are getting their comeuppance. So I think that's what it's about. I think it is about global events. It might affect you personally. I would suggest that it's probably against those who've harmed you, but it's always possible that it's for you. However, I don't think you've got anything to worry about. A bottom right-hand corner suggests that you used to know what you were doing. You had a firm sense of direction. But that seems to have gone, and I think that's true for most of us. And now you're left pondering what on earth is happening. Maybe just in your life, but I suspect in the world. It's not necessarily that you're depressed, but you will be missing out on opportunities because you're looking so internally. The future, we have a divine love, multiple blessings, but particularly blessings concerning love. And whilst it comes as no surprise to find that the Lover's card leads to the outcome, I've got a suspicion that we're talking of a different love here. I don't know, I might be wrong. But this love that I'm talking about now does lead to the outcome. Now, what would change the outcome is the King of Cups. Now, he's the King of Love. Somebody who's got control of his emotions. So even though this love that we had in the last card feels divine, I wonder if it is. I wonder if it is. I think the love in the future is a good love, but are we talking of two different loves? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I couldn't be sure at this moment in time. But it looks interesting. It looks interesting. And the outcome is the... Yeah, I was just checking it wasn't a knight. It's the Page of Swords. So seeking out new information, seeking information. This does fit with my sort of concern about these loves that are here. So it looks as though the reading is about love, even though the overall theme is justice. So there's a few things we need to really tease out here. So the energy that runs throughout this entire reading is that of justice. And it normally means real justice, so, you know, potentially a court case or something like that. But just recently, justice and judgment have become somewhat convoluted. I believe, well, I'm sure that last year there was a major shift in the world, a major paradigm shift, and we've moved from a world of greed, corruption, manipulation, secrecy, censorship, to a much more open, much more loving, much more caring paradigm. Of course, elements of the old still exist and bite us back with alarming regularity, but those who've been most obvious in their transgressions are indeed being published. And, you know, you have to dig a bit deeply in the media, but there is evidence of it. And I think this is going to continue. Is that what this card is, this energy is about for you? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think it's got to be related. You might see it as being entirely personal. And you might see it that you're being rewarded, if you like, for what you've put up with in the past. Or maybe you yourself are being punished. If you do, I think it's pretty minor. You've got nothing to worry about if you recognise your own transgressions and are sorry for them. But I don't think that's what it is. No, I think it's coming in your favour. And it is an energy that runs throughout everything else. And I need to recognise that when I'm looking at all the other energies. In the past, it felt as though you had everything aligned. Your tactics with your strategy, you were moving in a unified direction. You knew what you were doing, you knew what you wanted and how to get there, and you were moving very quickly. And that, I think, has all faded away. Now, it could be entirely personal, but again, I can't help but see it as global events has pulled the carpet or the rug from under your feet. And you now feel much less certain. I think all of us feel this way to a certain degree. For me, the effects of the last few years have been profound. There is nothing that I trust any longer. There's no institution I feel I can trust. There's no real sort of philosophy, ologies that I can have faith in. I have to look inside myself for answers on everything now, because I don't feel there's anything out there I can reach out to as an authority, as trust, because everything feels like it's being corrupted. And maybe you're feeling a little bit the same way, Roosters. And maybe I'm right that you do feel like me, because you're behaving exactly like that. You're pondering things, you're going inside yourself, looking for answers. Maybe looking for the direction that you feel lost. You're not acting, you're simply thinking. And that's no bad thing at times. You're focusing on what you've got, but maybe missing opportunities as a result. But again, you know, at dramatic times like these, is that a bad thing to be doing? I don't think it is. I think it's entirely right thing to be doing. It doesn't mean to say you will be provided with all the answers, because I think so much is unfathomable. But what more can you do when you have so little trust in all of those institutions, authorities that you used to trust? In the future we have blessings, probably love blessings, probably feels like a wonderful love. There's a sort of a family-ish, well, no, not family, but it's not a one-night fling, if you know what I mean. You know, there's a stability about it. I mean, it might be families, but you know, there's a stability about it. It's a very nice thing to be looking forward to. Probably isn't this year that it happens. How is this related to the Justice card? I don't know at this moment in time, but I'm certain that it is. Have you been deceived in love and you get rewarded for how you've behaved with another love? Maybe. Have another love that leads to the outcome. Is it the same love? I don't think it is. Might be completely wrong, but I feel it's something that's different. And this leads to the outcome. And whilst the outcome is a good outcome, it's not one that I'd associate with this sort of love. Normally I'd say this love feels divine. Normally I'd say it is divine. If you look at the rendering, there's an angel above them, as though it's been heaven sent. But then, you know, things are sent to us for us to learn. So I'm not sure. It's the sort of love where you've nothing to hide from each other. You know, on this rendering they're not naked, but often the renderings show them naked. They have nothing to hide. Yeah, but I've got my misgivings about it. It is lovers rather than families. Is it a fling? I mean, normally I wouldn't see it as that, but I can't help but feel that it might be. It could be a partnership. It could have nothing to do... Well, if it's a partnership, it's one that feels great. You know, business partnership, for example. But I think it is about love. You see, what would change the outcome is the King of Cups. King of Love. Somebody who understands his emotions and very much in control of them and others. I wonder if this is telling us that this Lover's card is a lover as opposed to a love. Do you know, I think it is. Because this is somebody who keeps such things under control. And he would change the outcome. Yeah. I think this is a warning to keep a hold of your emotions. I really do. Yeah. And this Lover's card leads you to the outcome, and the outcome is the Page of Swords. Curiosity, seeking out new ideas. And that probably links very much in with the early cards, which was about you The early cards, which was about you, first of all, having a sense of direction, then losing it, and then going inside yourself, seeking answers. And this is about seeking information. Probably also getting the information you require. So it's a lovely outcome. It's a lovely outcome. What we seem to have got is the interplay of this looking for answers and direction and love. Oh, and justice, of course. So whilst I've given you a narrative, I don't think it's adequate. So we do need some clarification. And the clarification I seek is on this Lover's card. First card of clarification I get is one of planning. A bit more than that, it's action planning. Physically going through options and thinking, how am I going to achieve them? And they're quite radical. So that does fit in with, you trying to work out what's going on in the world and trying to do something, make quite a radical shift. The next card is the Five of Wands. A card of conflict, but a conflict that probably could be avoided. And then the final card is the Three of Cups. A card of friendship, a card of working with others. But this particular rendering does remind me of a menage a trois. Now, I didn't think you already had a partner, but is this suggesting you had a partner and the lovers should be taken literally? I wonder. Let's look at each individually. Now remember, we're talking about the Lover's card. We're getting clarity on it. And the first card of clarity is one of action planning. Planning something quite radical. Now, of course, if you are already in a relationship and this is a lover, then maybe you're planning on leaving that relationship and moving with your lover. That would be a very neat explanation, but is it the right one? And I'm not passing judgment on you. I was in a very unhappy relationship for over 20 years. I met the person who is now my wife and we couldn't be happier. But I had to do two major things in order to marry her. One was to convert to Islam and the other was to move to Indonesia. I don't regret either, but I can't say either have been plain sailing. So I think that might be what it's about. Gosh. And the next card we have is one of conflict. Has conflict forced you in the arms of a lover? It's possible, isn't it? I mean, the reason for me, I was living with, I wasn't married, but I was living with, for over 20 years, a psychopathic covert narcissist. And we used to row all the time until I discovered it was better to say nothing. But I remember one Sunday I thought I'd count how many times she told me off. And I got to 35 and got fed up, stopped doing it, But yeah, I wonder if you're in a relationship a bit like that. Do you know, I think I might be right. Because of course, as a result of this fling, and I'm not certain it lasts, but you do seek out something new. You do seek out something different. Yeah. Gosh. Now, Normally this energy is one that could be resolved if you could talk it through, but of course if you're dealing with a narcissist, you can't talk it through. But the alternative to it is the King of Cups, very much in control of his emotions, so not jumping into these conflicts. God, I didn't think that's what this was all about. And the final card of clarification is this Three of Cups. Normally about friendships, sort of celebrating, working with others. But you look at this rendering, I mean, it is a ménage à trois, isn't it? That boy sitting between those two girls, and they both got their designs on him. Yeah. So it is about cheating, isn't it? Yeah. I don't think you're really the guilty party, if the truth be known. So going back to the overall energy, which is the energy of justice, I don't think you've got anything to worry about. I don't think you've really done anything wrong. I think this is a situation that's been forced on you. And maybe you could have handled it better. But like me, you just followed your heart, you know. I met my current wife, and for many years I lived a double life. And, well, you know, I probably knew her nearly 10 years before we formally got married. And I don't regret that at all, you know. Yeah. But it's not been easy for me, and, you know, it probably is. This justice is a bit of, you're going to be tested. Because you've not really done the right thing, but I think the universe understands you. Now the beauty of tarot is the surprises. And your reading really has surprised me, Rooster. There was something I couldn't quite understand. I thought it was all related to global events, and it could be the interplay of the global and the personal, but no, I think it's much more about personal events. I think you are in a relationship. I'm pretty certain you are. And you seem to have got a firm sense of direction, where you were going, what you wanted, and how it would pan out. But I'm pretty certain that there's conflict in this relationship. Could even be you're with a narcissist. And, you know, you're spending a lot of time thinking, what on earth is going on? What's happening? As I did for 20 years with a narcissist, and probably for 10 years after I left her, you know. And that will happen to you if I'm right about this situation. And what happens is, well, hang on. Yeah, no. What happens is that a lover crosses your path. A lover that feels so different to this person you have conflict with. I'm not certain that you remain with this lover. You might do. Later on, you're certainly very happy with somebody, but it could well be somebody new. And it sort of pushes you, this relationship, this lover. It pushes you to seeking out information, seeking out new ways of looking at things. So I'm pretty certain you do move away from the person you've been with, probably for a long time. And as I say, I think it ends up well for you. There is justice here. I mean, that could simply be a divorce. But I think the justice ultimately goes in your favour. but maybe not without some heartbreak and hardship. You know, maybe it's not going to be easy for you. But yeah, you're planning a new and better life for yourself, and God bless you for it. Now, I think things could be handled a little bit better if you could be a little bit more mature with your emotions. But you know, I've been in exactly this situation, and it's maturity doesn't come in situations. If you are dealing with a narcissist, maturity doesn't come so easily. You know, if you could have been a bit more understanding of the situation, not so much the person. I'm not asking you to have the mind of a narcissist, you know. But yeah, if you could be a bit more understanding of what was going on, you could come out of this year a lot better. But overall, I don't think it's a bad year for you, but it is a tumultuous year, that's for sure.